Who really wrote the Bible? The answer is more complicated than you think. After watching this, you might not believe in Bible anymore. Imagine picking up a book that has shaped civilizations, inspired billions, started wars, influenced laws, and changed the course of history. Now imagine discovering that no single person actually wrote it. What if the names attached to many of its books weren't necessarily the people who wrote them? What if the Bible wasn't created all at once, but over centuries by dozens of different authors, editors, and scribes? Who really wrote the Bible? Was it Moses? Was it King David? Were the Gospels really written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Or is the story far more complicated than most people realize? Today, we're separating tradition from historical evidence and exploring one of history's greatest mysteries. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Is the Bible actually one book? The first surprise is that the Bible isn't really one book. It's a collection of many books written over roughly 1,000 years. Different languages, different countries, different cultures, different political situations. The Old Testament was mostly written in Hebrew, with some parts in Aramaic. The New Testament was written in Greek. The people who contributed to these writings lived centuries apart and often never knew one another. That raises an important question. If so many people contributed, who actually decided what belonged in the Bible? We'll come back to that later. Chapter 2. Did Moses write the first 5 books? Traditionally, many religious communities have believed that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Together, they're often called the Pentateuch or the Torah. But many historians and biblical scholars believe the story is more complex. Why? One reason is that Deuteronomy describes Moses' death and burial. If Moses died in the story, how could he have written that final account? Researchers have also noticed differences in vocabulary, writing style, and repeated stories throughout these books. For example, there are passages that appear to tell similar events in different ways. This has led many scholars to suggest that these books were compiled from multiple older traditions and edited together over time. Some call this the documentary hypothesis. Not everyone agrees with it, but it remains one of the most influential academic theories about the origins of the Torah. Already, the question of authorship is becoming more complicated than many people expect. Chapter 3. Who wrote the historical books? Books such as Joshua, Judges, Samuel, and Kings describe centuries of Israel's history. Unlike modern history books, they rarely identify a single author. Many scholars think these texts were compiled and edited by generations of scribes who used royal records, oral traditions, poems, and earlier documents. Think of it like a giant historical project that continued to grow over hundreds of years. Each generation preserved older stories while adding new material. Chapter 4. Did King David write the Psalms? Many Psalms begin with phrases like a Psalm of David. Because of this, tradition often associates David with the Book of Psalms. But the collection contains 150 Psalms. Some refer to events that happened long after David's lifetime. Other Psalms are linked to different individuals or groups. Many scholars believe the Book of Psalms developed over centuries, with contributions from multiple poets, musicians, and worship leaders. David may have written some, but the entire collection almost certainly reflects many voices. Chapter 5. who wrote Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs. These books are traditionally connected with King Solomon, but scholars debate whether Solomon personally wrote every word. Instead, many believe later writers preserved wisdom traditions associated with him. This wasn't unusual in the ancient world. Important teachers often became symbolic figures whose names represented entire schools of thought. Chapter 6. The mystery of the prophets' books, such as Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and others, are named after prophets. But even here, the picture isn't always simple. Take Isaiah. Many scholars believe the book contains material from more than one historical period. Some divide it into sections that may have been written by different authors or communities separated by generations. Others maintain that one prophet could have authored the entire book. The debate continues today. Chapter 7. Who wrote the four Gospels? Now we come to one of Christianity's biggest questions. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Were these books actually written by the men whose names they bear? The earliest Gospel manuscripts originally circulated without the authors' names attached. Later, Christian tradition identified them with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Many scholars believe these traditional attributions are plausible but cannot be proven with certainty. Others argue that the Gospels were written anonymously before being associated with these names. Most historians agree on one point. The Gospels were likely written several decades after the death of Jesus. They were based on eyewitness memories, oral traditions, earlier written sources, and theological reflection. This doesn't automatically determine whether their accounts are true or false. It simply describes what historians think about how these texts were composed. Chapter 8. Did Paul write all his letters? The New Testament contains letters attributed to Paul. For centuries, Christians believed Paul wrote all of them. Today, many scholars distinguish between letters that are widely accepted as authentic and others whose authorship is debated. Some suggest followers of Paul may have written certain letters in his name after his death, a practice that existed in parts of the ancient world. Others continue to defend traditional authorship. This remains an active area of research. Chapter 9. Who decided which books entered the Bible? Even after these books were written, there still wasn't a single Bible. Different communities used different collections of sacred writings. Over several centuries, Christian leaders discussed which books should be recognized as scripture. The process of recognizing the biblical canon took time and varied across regions. Some books that were respected by early Christians were ultimately not included in most biblical canons. Others became part of the standard collection used by many churches. Different Christian traditions today still have slightly different canons. Chapter 10. Why are there different versions of the Bible? Another surprise is that there isn't just one version. Translations differ because they rely on ancient manuscripts copied by hand over many centuries. No original manuscript of any biblical book is known to survive. Instead, scholars compare thousands of ancient copies to reconstruct the earliest attainable text. Sometimes these manuscripts contain small differences caused by copying. Most are minor, such as spelling or word order, though a few passages remain subjects of scholarly discussion. If you enjoyed this exploration, subscribe to The Thinker's Lens for more videos where history, mystery, and critical thinking come together. And tell us in the comments, What topic should we investigate next?